Hanover Square Press and HarlequinAudio present Empires of the Steppes, a history of the nomadic tribes who shaped civilization, by Kenneth W. Harl. Read by Corey M. Snow. A note before we begin. For a glossary of terms, notes on the text, and a list of additional reading materials, don't forget to download the accompanying enhancement PDF from your audiobook provider or go directly to harpercollins.com/pages/Empires of the Steppes. To my wife, Sema, ever patient and loving. Janim, sini sivdiorum sonchus chungchu evet derin. Forward. 10 years ago, I agreed to record a course with the Great Courses, formerly known as the Teaching Company, on the nomadic peoples of the Eurasian steppes. I created this course in response to requests by many customers for a course on the Silk Road. The course on DVD and streaming formats has since proved most popular. But I owe a debt of thanks to literary agent Adam Gauntlet, who approached me about writing a grand narrative of the nomadic peoples of the Eurasian steppes and how they contributed so much to the world in which we live. Adam's timing was perfect because my wife and I, given our age and medical condition, were compelled to isolate during the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 to 2021. I had to cancel my plans of a sabbatical leave overseas, working in coin cabinets and numismatic institutes. Those who are familiar with my scholarship know that I publish on the coinages and economic history of the Roman world. Instead, I turned to writing a sweeping narrative covering 45 centuries, from the first steppe nomads, who domesticated the horse and learned how to exploit the endless grasslands of Eurasia, to Tamerlane, 1370 to 1405, the Prince of Destruction, the last conqueror who based his empire on the invincible horse archers. I chose to close this book with Tamerlane's death. In less than 2 generations after his death, the handheld firearms of a military revolution ended the supremacy of the horse archer forever. At the same time, the European voyages of discovery turned the oceans into the highways of a new global economy that replaced the caravan routes of the Silk Road across the Eurasian steppes. The steppe nomads steadily lost their decisive role in history over the next 2 centuries. I recognize that I have ventured far beyond the limits of my professional training as a classical historian, devoted to the great books of Greece and Rome. Yet the story of these peoples on the Eurasian steppes has always fascinated me from a young age, when I first read about the spectacular exploits of Attila and the Hun and Genghis Khan. As I was completing this book, I was excited to read initial reports that archaeologists might have uncovered the burial of Genghis Khan. If so, this discovery will be hailed the greatest archaeological find of the 21st century. This report is also a sobering reminder of how future breakthroughs in comparative linguistics, archaeology, and DNA analysis may modify some of what I have written. Yet, I hope that I have presented an exciting and plausible narrative of these remarkable peoples that will stand the test of time. In turning lecture notes into a book, I had to master over a decade of new scholarship. I also had to rethink the presentation and emphasis of this story. Hence, I wrote new chapters on the little-known Kushan.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?